For thousands of years, the Great Pyramid of Giza has just sat there, this silent giant in the desert. We all think of it as a tomb, right? An incredible feat of ancient engineering, sure. But what if it's something else entirely? What if it's a message, a kind of prophecy written in stone, hiding a cosmic code? So, yeah, that's the big question we're diving into. We're going to unpack a pretty wild theory drawn from our source material that reimagines this ancient wonder. It's a theory that says this isn't just a pharaoh's final resting place, but maybe, just maybe, it's a map of space and time itself. All right, so the first piece of this incredible puzzle has nothing to do with what's inside the pyramid. It's all about how the entire thing sits on our planet. And it all starts with its almost supernatural precision. According to the research we're looking at, this isn't just, close enough. The four sides of the Great Pyramid are aligned almost perfectly to true north, south, east, and west. And that's a feat of engineering that really makes you stop and wonder, how on earth did they do that? So, how small is almost perfect? Well, the deviation from true north is just 5 arc minutes. Now, to put that into perspective, imagine a circle divided into 21,600 tiny little slices. The pyramid is off by just 5 of them. That is an insanely small margin of error. So, if it's so close, why isn't it perfect? Well, the researchers in our source material had a pretty amazing conclusion. They theorized that back when it was built, the alignment was absolutely flawless. They believe this tiny deviation we see today is simply the result of the Earth's crust slowly shifting over the last 4,500 years. This, of course, raises a huge question. How did they pull it off? The theory we're exploring basically says there are only two real possibilities. Either the builders had a knowledge of astronomy that was light years ahead of what we give them credit for, or they had some sort of guiding hand, what the text calls divine inspiration. But the precision doesn't stop with its alignment. Nope. According to this theory, it also extends to exactly where it was built. And this suggests a perfect location, not just in Egypt, but on a global scale. So this idea comes from a survey done way back in 1868. A hydrographer named Henry Mitchell noticed that the coastline of the Nile Delta forms this beautiful, almost perfect quarter circle. So on a map, he drew out the rest of the circle and was absolutely stunned to find that its exact geometrical center was the Great Pyramid. Now, think about that unique placement. It's right at the center of the fertile delta, but it's also literally on the edge of the vast desert. Proponents of this theory see this as a literal fulfillment of a biblical prophecy from Isaiah, one that describes a monument in the midst of the land and at the border thereof. But wait, the claim gets even bigger. The theory says the pyramid doesn't just mark the center of Lower Egypt, it marks the center of all the land on Earth. Supposedly, its specific latitude and longitude cross over more physical land than any other single point on the entire globe. This idea led one of the main researchers, Professor Piazzi Smith, to make a really bold claim. He argued that the meridian of the Great Pyramid is the true natural zero of longitude for all nations, a much more logical prime meridian than the one we use in Greenwich today. Okay, so we've got perfect alignment and a supposedly perfect central location. But this next claim from our source, this one is maybe the most extraordinary of them all. It connects the pyramid's internal architecture to a very specific, very sacred location hundreds of miles away. If you've ever seen a diagram of the pyramids inside, you know there's a descending passage that goes way down into the bedrock and an ascending passage that rises up towards the chambers. Now, what's crucial here, according to the source, is that they are built at the exact same unwavering angle. And what is that highly specific angle? Measured with modern tools, it's 26 degrees, 18 minutes, and 10 seconds. Not 26 degrees, not 26 and a half, but this exact, very particular figure. So here it is. This is where it gets really mind-bending. The research we're looking at claims that if you were to stand at the Great Pyramid and draw a line heading northeast at that exact angle, that line would point directly to the city of Bethlehem. A direct line from the pyramid's architecture to the birthplace of Christ. I mean, that is a stunning claim. So how in the world is it justified? Well, let's try to break down the, let's call it complex numerology our source uses to connect these dots. To even begin to understand the next step, you have to know about a special unit of measurement from the source, the pyramid mile. Now, this isn't a normal mile. It's a unit derived from the monument itself. You just take the full perimeter of the pyramid's base, double it, and that distance right there is 1 pyramid mile. Okay, now stick with me on this calculation. As you can see in step 1, the theory takes that 233 pyramid mile distance to Bethlehem and imagines it as the diameter of a giant circle. Then, for step 2, they calculate that circle's circumference, but they do it in pyramid cubits, another one of these special units. Then, as you see in step 3, they take that huge number and divide it by 1,000. And the final result in step 4 is the number 2138. So what's the big deal with 2138? Well, according to the text, this is anything but a random number. It's claimed to be the precise number of years that passed between the completion of the Great Pyramid and the birth of Jesus in Bethlehem. And this whole system of measurement is extended right into the heart of the pyramid. Just look at this table. The theory claims that specific dimensions inside the king's chamber actually encode key astronomical values. For instance, the perimeter of one wall supposedly corresponds to the massive 25,000-year precessional cycle of the equinoxes, while other measurements are said to link to the exact lengths of the lunar and solar years. So, what does this all add up to? I mean, if you accept the alignments, the geography, and all this numerology, what is the ultimate message that our source believes is locked away inside the Great Pyramid? Well, ultimately, the theory proposes a really powerful symbolic meaning. The pyramid itself, with its huge body and famously missing capstone, is seen as a figure of Christ and his followers. The main structure represents the body of believers, and that final missing piece, the chief cornerstone, represents Christ himself, the one who unifies and completes the whole thing. So the grand thesis of all the material we've just explored is this: the Great Pyramid is not a tomb. It's something else. It's a divinely authored blueprint, a message in stone that encodes the secrets of astronomy, the geography of our planet, and a sacred timeline of all of history. In the end, it really leaves us with a pretty profound question. Do all these incredible alignments and calculations actually reveal a blueprint of cosmic time, a prophetic calendar set in stone thousands of years ago? Or are they just a testament to our own fascinating and very human search for patterns in the great mysteries of our ancient world?